This is Texas News Now, sponsored by Germania Insurance.
Let's take a look at today's headlines all across Houston. Hello, I'm Len Cannon. KHOU 11 investigates a new Texas law and how it is expanding the role of local sheriffs in immigration enforcement. We're checking how the policy is driving more sheriffs to partner with ICE and what it means for Texans. Here's Marcelino Benito.
Across the country, ICE operations caught on camera.
This is a peaceful city!
Raising concerns, sparking protests, and in some cases, turning deadly. From coast to coast, ICE under a national spotlight. Now here in Texas,
it's about law and order.
A new state law pulling local sheriffs deeper into immigration enforcement.
It was optional until Senate Bill 8.
So no longer optional?
No longer optional.
Passed last year, Senate Bill 8 requires sheriffs who operate county jails to sign formal deals with ICE, 287G agreements that give local deputies limited immigration authority.
Does Senate Bill 8 help make the public safer?
Absolutely.
Brian Hawthorne is the Chambers County Sheriff.
We are removing a criminal element.
And president of the Texas Sheriff's Association, who warns that counties failing to comply by December 1st could be sued by the Texas Attorney General.
There's no sense in ever what I call poking the bear. Do what you can to comply, and I feel like every sheriff in Texas will do that.
And many already have. KHOU 11 Investigates reviewed ICE data and found 73% of Texas's 233 counties with jails subject to the law now have agreements in place with ICE.
All it does is puts us in a position of which we're helping and assisting the federal government in the removal of illegal aliens.
But what that looks like can vary by county. Sheriffs can pick between models, ranging from jail-only screening to helping ICE serve warrants inside county jails to street-level immigration enforcement. Sheriff Hawthorne has had the jail model in place in Chambers County for 6 years.
I don't want my staff to be playing ICE agent or a Border Patrol agent. It's a whole lot easier for us to manage those issues inside the jail versus trying to do it out in the field.
But nationally, it's the task force model growing fastest. In Texas, 58 counties, including Galveston County, now allow local officers to act as federal immigration agents out on the streets.
We think it is a huge mistake.
Cesar Espinoza is with the immigrant rights group FIEL.
To have deputies acting as ICE officials in the streets will be detrimental in a variety of ways.
Espinoza points to a 2022 ACLU report that found 287G agreements often led to racial profiling, and he believes the partnership will further erode trust between Latinos and law enforcement.
Does that trust deficit make the community less safe?
It definitely makes our community more vulnerable.
But in Chambers County, Sheriff Hawthorne tells us he's not seeing those problems.
The Hispanic population doesn't want the criminal living amongst them any more than you or I do. I don't think any of them have any problem dialing 911.
And as SB 8 takes hold across Texas, every community will have its own decision to make.
Take a look at this map right here. 3 of Texas's 5 largest counties have yet to partner with ICE, and that includes us right here in Harris County. We asked Sheriff Ed Gonzalez for an interview. He declined, but a spokesman says the county plans to comply and partner with ICE by December 1st. You can see what every county is doing with our interactive map. It's up on KHOU.com right now. Back to you.
Marcelino, thank you. Starting next school year, students in Cy-Fair ISD will once again have access to textbook chapters that were banned 2 years ago. In 2024, the district's more conservative school board voted to remove chapters covering topics like climate change, vaccines, and diversity. But on Monday, a newly reshaped board voted 4-3 to reverse that decision, reinstating the material. CenterPoint Energy's new community progress tracker is now live, giving customers a way to see grid upgrades in their own neighborhoods. It comes as the company continues to work on its Greater Houston Resilience Initiative. Jalissa Garza has a closer look.
CenterPoint says this new online tracker is about giving customers more visibility into the work it's been doing since launching its Resilience Initiative in 2024. That initiative began after severe storms left millions without power across the region. Now, here's how the tool works.
The Community Progress Tracker allows customers to search by address or zip code and zoom in on their community. The map uses icons to show where CenterPoint says it has installed new storm-resilient poles, trimmed vegetation, added automation devices, or underground power lines. The company says the map shows about 18 months of completed work across its 12-county service area. Since August of 2024, CenterPoint says it has installed or replaced more than 56,000 storm-resilient poles, trimmed more than 8,000 miles of vegetation, installed more than 500 automation devices, and undergrounded more than 430 miles of power lines.
This new tracker is really our call to action to be as transparent as we can with our customers about all the great work and investments we're making in our grid.
CenterPoint says these upgrades are aimed at reducing the impact of future outages and improving restoration times during severe weather. The company also says future updates to the tracker will allow customers to see projects that are underway or planned in their area.
CenterPoint says the tracker will continue to be updated as more projects are completed. We've posted a direct link on khou.com so you can check your own neighborhood. In the newsroom, Julissa Garza, KHOU 11 News.
Jalissa, thank you. Spring training underway for the Astros right now. Just pitchers and catchers reporting. Jason Bristow with more in West Palm.
Day one of spring training is nearly in the books here in West Palm Beach, and the Astros wasting no time answering some very big questions, from the back end of the bullpen to the top of the rotation, and of course, their new arm. All-star closer Josh Hader was back throwing after dealing with some bicep inflammation during the offseason. And we hope to hear from Josh following this workout to see how he's feeling and whether he believes he'll be ready for opening day. And speaking of opening day, Joe Espada announcing that Hunter Brown will be his starter for that very first game.
He's earned this. It's been a pleasure to watch him develop into one of the best pitchers in the major leagues, and he's definitely our leader.
And for the first time this spring, teammates got to look at Tatsuya Imai, the new pitcher from Japan, throwing a bullpen session on day one. Earlier in the day, I asked Tatsuya if he feels like a rookie again.
Yeah, I mean, it feels pretty much the same as, how I was feeling when I got drafted by the Lions back in Japan, and it's going to be a bit of a struggle to remember all the names and faces.
So there is Tatsuya Imai through his translator. Obviously, day one, there's plenty to build on, but there's also plenty more to learn about these Astros as camp will roll on here in West Palm Beach. With the Astros, Jason Bristol, KHOU 11 News.
Opening day be here before you know it. That is a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Len Cannon.
I'm Chris Lawrence with your top stories in North Texas. Police have 3 murder suspects in custody, accused of taking part in a deadly shooting that left 1 woman dead. But as Adriana de Alba reports, White Settlement police are still searching for the teenager who actually pulled the trigger.
Neighbor doorbell video captures the sound of gunfire before 2 masked suspects ran.
He pointed a handgun at Savannah. He fired multiple times and she was struck.
White Settlement police announcing the arrest of 3 people 1 week after a home invasion turned deadly on January 30th. 2 masked suspects forced their way into a home on Meadow Park Drive while a third waited in a car nearby. According to an arrest affidavit, 33-year-old Savannah Parker was inside that home, recorded the suspects yelling at them to leave. As the suspects ran, police say one of them, a juvenile, pointed a gun at Parker and shot her repeatedly.
She was bleeding out and stuff.
Parker died later at the hospital. Court documents say the suspects ran into a getaway car and fled. Detectives tracking them with license plate readers and surveillance video. By February 6, police arrested the driver, Marissa Ocon, charging her with capital murder. The next day, police arrested 31-year-old Maribel Apodaca Guzman. She's accused of helping the underage shooter escape. 2 days later, police arrested 17-year-old Julian Xavier Ramirez at a Lake Worth ISD school. Although only one person is accused of firing the gun, they're all charged with capital murder. But police say the juvenile accused of shooting Parker fled to Mexico and is still on the run.
This was a senseless crime. Savannah Parker, our victim, should be alive today.
Police say they're now working with state and federal partners to bring that juvenile back to the U.S.
We are going to work tirelessly.
Court documents reveal the 17-year-old suspect told police they were there to retrieve some items, but a definite motive is still unknown. Police say they do know this.
The suspects that day, they made their decisions, and they were bad decisions.
And now police want to hold them accountable. In White Settlement, I'm Adriana De Alba.
Several cities are considering ditching the primary public transit system in North Texas, but as Kevin Reese explains, Dallas just made a move to prevent it.
To keep the DART trains and buses running, multiple DFW cities want a better deal. How much they get back for how much they have to pay and how much say they get in DART's future direction.
This is not even about winners and losers. This is about all of us coming together.
Wednesday, the Dallas City Council agreed to offer more of that say.
Colleagues, I hope you can send a clear and unified message to our partner cities that we are willing to play in the sandbox and we want to keep DART intact.
Each of the 13 member cities gets a place on the DART Board of Directors. Dallas proposes reducing its representation to 45% of that board so that no single city controls a majority.
This is an important expression of Dallas's willingness to show that we are flexible, that we are willing to be collaborative with our neighboring cities.
I was encouraged.
Plano Mayor John Munz reacted to the vote, calling it a step in the right direction.
Hopefully all 13 member cities feel like they have a bigger voice.
But there is still very much the issue of funding, how each of the 13 cities that support DART get more bang for their buck. The Regional Transportation Council continues that conversation on Thursday. And 6 of the member cities still have elections planned in May to let voters decide if they want to leave DART. Plano, for one, needs to know if they have a DART agreement before February 27th, because that's when the ballots would be printed.
We still have some hurdles, but we feel really good about the fact that we have a framework for a solution here.
The next several days key in determining if that solution stays on track. In Dallas, I'm Kevin Reese.
A massive road project in Dallas won't be finished for at least 4 years. Crews have closed the highway for an entire weekend twice now this year. Brittany Bonkrey spoke with neighbors living south of I-30 on the impact it's having on their lives.
She's like in her neighborhood and she's like,
For Nina Palmer,
little town. That's how I feel when I wake up.
the Cedars feels like a fairy tale.
So this neighborhood is a gem. It's a little secret hidden spot of Dallas.
And like most fairy tales, if there's a beauty,
we value it and we protect it and we treasure it.
There's a beast.
We understand that that's just like part of the progress. But boy, oh boy, it makes day-to-day life very hard.
As part of the I-30 Canyon project, crews knocked down popular bridges in January, connecting the Cedars to downtown Dallas. And residents like Nina are feeling it.
You never know what's going to be closed. It takes me an additional 20 minutes to get home from outside of downtown.
We have more graham cracker, right? I bought 2 boxes.
Over at Val's Cheesecake,
Our customers are making their own parking spots.
Valise Jean Bart feels it too.
Timing issues and picking up cheesecakes and getting to us is an issue for sure.
So he's bringing community members together to appeal to the city and TxDOT for more support.
There are strategies and there are techniques that can help us getting a better flow of traffic here.
Like better signage and more communication. In a statement, TxDOT says they've been planning this project for years and worked with the city on closures that would minimize traffic disruptions as much as possible.
You have to stay on it and communicate to the businesses and the residents, hey, this is coming, constantly.
And to make way for growth,
I do know that the draw to Texas is real.
Residents have 5 years of this.
Apparently it's going to get even better.
For their happily ever after. In the Cedars, I'm Brittany Moncrief.
Police are searching for a woman suspected of leaving her cat by a dumpster. It happened last month near Grapevine's Animal Services Center. Investigators just told Brittany Costello the woman could face criminal charges and even jail time.
The security camera at the City of Grapevine's Animal Services Center appears to show someone dropping off trash at the city's dumpster. It's what Animal Control Officer Jacqueline Moreno thought too, until she walked up to it.
I was greeted with a little meow, so I was like, oh my gosh, okay, there's a baby in here. You want to turn around?
It was a cat. The city has named Zeus. No microchip, no health problems, now no owner.
So I thought it was strange.
More like cruel, if you ask Nancy Salstein.
Well, it's very sad.
But Salstein is not exactly surprised. In fact, her grandpuppy Gracie was also dumped. 3 years ago, she was found in this backpack with several other puppies. It was zipped up and tossed in a parking lot.
I don't know the situation from the person, and that's okay. If you can't keep it, if you can't afford it, if you just are at your wit's end, it's okay. But put it somewhere where somebody's going to find it.
Moreno says she's lucky she found Zeus when she did, but she wonders why that person didn't just bring their cat inside.
We do not charge a fee for dropping off a stray, and we also don't charge a fee to relinquish ownership/surrender.
And for families who need help paying for pet supplies or care, she says they help find resources for that too.
Oh, you're so pretty.
Now they hope to find Zeus a new home. Salstein knows.
They make our lives better.
How important these animals are.
Animal Services is asking for the community's help in identifying the person in that video. They really just want to understand what happened, but it is also a crime. They say that person could be charged with cruelty to non-livestock. That could come with a fine or even jail time. In Grapevine, I'm Brittany Costello.
Well, at the very least, glad to know the cat is going to be okay. And those are your headlines from North Texas.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.
Well, hey there, Texas. Today is going to be absolutely beautiful. Lots of sunshine and very warm temperatures. For many of us, temperatures will actually climb to around 80 degrees or so. Now, out in the Panhandle today, temperatures will climb into the upper 70s around Amarillo, looking at partly cloudy skies. But tomorrow, clouds do increase quite a bit, and there will be at least a chance of rain, but it looks like it's going to hold off until late Friday night. So during the day, we're going to be dry, but despite the fact that we will be dry, temperatures will be coming down because a cold front will be moving in. So temperatures will only make it into the low 60s tomorrow afternoon. Now on Saturday, we do have that chance of rain. It's looking pretty likely with a high of only 60 degrees, so significantly cooler as we head into the weekend. Now around Austin, kind of different. Today, very warm, a high of around 80 and lots of sun, but tomorrow clouds increase and temperatures go up. Temperatures will actually stay in the low 80s, but on Saturday, we've got that chance of rain and temperatures do come down, but it's still going to be pretty warm. Highs still make it into the mid 70s. Around Corpus Christi, we're talking about the low 80s for the next couple of days. And then even on Saturday, temperatures climb into the mid 80s. We really don't see a whole lot of rain around Corpus Christi, though. North Texas, temperature is very pleasant this afternoon. Lots of sun, temperatures in the mid 70s. We're going to be in the upper 70s tomorrow, but the rain moves in by tomorrow night and into your Saturday. So for your Saturday, temperatures only make it into the upper 60s with that chance of rain. Around Houston, very warm, 80 degrees today, upper 70s tomorrow with a lot more cloud cover. Rain does move in on Saturday, so temperatures fall, but not by a whole lot, maybe a couple of degrees in most locations. But around San Antonio today, lots of sun, a high of 79 degrees, so near 80, and we're just going to kind of hang out around 80 over the next couple of days, and it looks like we're going to be pretty dry then as well. So looking at our timecast, starting it at noon today, lots of sun for most of us, a few more clouds out to the west, and as we go throughout the day, pretty dry and very warm overnight tonight. A few more clouds move in. By Friday afternoon, most of Texas will be pretty cloudy, but it's still going to be pretty warm. Notice the rain coming in by Friday evening. That's primarily in far west Texas, so that's going to be making its way off to the east as we go through Friday night and into your Saturday morning. So by the time we get into Saturday morning, most of West Texas is going to be dry. There's still going to be some rain, at least in the northern parts of the Panhandle. But North Texas is going to start to see some of that heavier rain. Could also see some of that rain a little bit closer to the coast, but it's going to be significantly lighter around there. This is going to be noon on Saturday, and North Texas is still very much in it. But later in the evening, eventually that rain will primarily be in just East Texas. North Texas, we're going to start to dry out. By the time we get into Sunday morning, our skies will clear out from west to east, and then Sunday afternoon's looking nice and dry. So for tonight, temperatures will be dropping down into the low to mid 50s, about 55 degrees at DFW, but 58 overnight tonight in Austin, 59 in Houston. Much colder, though, in the Panhandle. Temperatures will be dropping down into the 30s tonight. Once we get into your Friday, temperatures still look very warm for most, a little bit cooler in the Panhandle. Low 60s in Amarillo, upper 60s around Lubbock, but 79 at DFW, the upper 70s in Austin, and also looking at those upper 70s around Corpus Christi. The air quality index, good for the most part. There's still a couple of spots right around Austin where we're going to keep it in that moderate category, but we should see some improvement over the next couple of days. So breaking it down region by region, we're going to start with West Texas. Again, today around El Paso, lots of clouds, at least some filtered sunshine, though. Tomorrow afternoon, those temperatures will be coming down because that is where we will have that decent chance of rain. So temperatures will only make it into the mid 60s tomorrow afternoon. By Saturday, though, we're going to see a lot more sunshine, but temperatures only make it into the upper 60s during that time. Around Lubbock, upper 70s today, partly cloudy. We're going to see a lot more cloud cover come Friday afternoon. Temperatures make it to 70 degrees. And then by Saturday, temperatures do come back down into the mid 60s. Midland, Texas, though, upper 70s today, low 70s tomorrow with the chance of rain. But it looks like by Saturday, we should be drying out. Temperatures still go down, but not by a whole lot, only a few degrees or so. Central Texas, we've talked about Austin and Waco. Let's go down to Fredericksburg. Fredericksburg today, partly cloudy and dry, upper 70s, but we're going to see some more cloud cover tomorrow. For the most part, it still looks pretty dry, but temperatures, they're going to make it into the upper 70s, maybe a degree or two cooler than what we're expecting today. By Saturday, though, now we've got that chance of rain with temperatures in the low 70s. South Texas, it's going to be very warm. Again, upper 70s in San Antonio today, and we do look dry. A little bit more cloud cover tomorrow. We make it to about 80 degrees, and then around Corpus Christi, low 80s today, tomorrow, mid 80s expected towards the end of the week, but we do look dry. North Texas, we've got DFW, we've also got Weatherford and Denton, all looking very similar. Today, lots of sun, a little bit more cloud cover tomorrow, especially as we get into late tomorrow afternoon and evening. But the rain, we are expecting that on Saturday. It's looking more and more likely, so temperatures will be coming down. We're going to see highs in the upper 60s. East Texas around Houston, very warm, 80 degrees today, but by Saturday, dropping down into the mid 70s with that chance of rain coming in. Looking at the valley, very warm. We really don't have any rain chances here. McAllen, upper 80s today. Pretty windy on your Friday, mid 80s, and we're back up to around 90 degrees on Saturday. Around Mission, Texas, upper 80s today, upper 80s tomorrow. Still windy, and looking at those low 90s coming back for your Saturday.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.
I'm Isis Romero, and this is the news in San Antonio. Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones is now urging Texas lawmakers to block funding for a proposed ICE facility on the east side. In a letter to the state's congressional delegation, she called the plan non-transparent and said it would hurt, not help, economic development in an already struggling area. The 640,000 square foot facility would house immigration and customs enforcement. At a South Side event, the mayor pushed for a different vision.
The ICE detention facility, proposed ICE detention facility on the east side, would do the opposite. It would actually hamper economic development in that community. It would have a chilling effect. No one is going to want to set up shop next to a detention center. So it's going to depress economic activity in that community. And we all know the East Side is already economically depressed. We need more good paying jobs there. We need those kinds of things. And an ICE detention facility ain't it.
The site sits in a commercial area, but some residents say they're still concerned. The letter was released at midday, and now all eyes are on the Texas delegation. Firefighters on the East Side are investigating a possible case of arson. Earl Stoudemire has the latest on their investigation.
Investigators are calling this house fire on Blue Bonnet Street suspicious because there were empty gas cans on the side of the house. Firefighters also noticed gas was turned off going to the home, but there was electricity. This fire happened just before 10:30 last night, and San Antonio fire officials say when firefighters arrived, there were heavy flames and smoke coming from the back of the house. No one was inside the house when the fire broke out, and the property was up for sale. Firefighters say the fire severely damaged the home. Investigators now have to determine if this was a case of arson. Earl Stoudemire, KENS 5.
Neighbors on San Antonio's northwest side are fighting back against mail theft. Would-be thieves are now being met with a very loud warning. Zach Briggs explains how one neighbor's upgrades are making a difference.
Between 1 and 5 in the morning was usually when it always happens.
A Sunday surprise for this man and his driver.
This neighborhood and its mailboxes are continuously monitored by video surveillance. Any acts of vandalism or tampering with the mailboxes will be reported to the police.
Andrew Gonzalez's security system, protecting his neighbors from those who may have plans of rummaging through the mailboxes.
You know, I try to get the word out there and make everyone aware that this is the person targeting the mailboxes at this time.
Thieves had it much easier almost a couple years ago when the Copper Canyon community were left with these aged and broken mailboxes. One of her stories prompted the U.S. Postal Service to act and provide new cluster mailboxes for this neighborhood.
Huge improvement.
Also upgraded Gonzalez's video surveillance, now featuring a text-to-speech alarm, as seen in action over the weekend.
We've deterred 2 or 3 people from breaking into the mailboxes, and I think it's a great success.
Gonzalez says he's just thankful that the security equipment's been able to scare away potential thieves, and ever since posting the latest incident online, he's been getting a lot of interest from neighbors all across San Antonio.
I want that for Christmas.
That's Nancy Howard, who's fed up with looking at these decrepit mailboxes. A part of the Lockwood Neighborhood Association, she's not so sure everyone would be on board to pitch in for improved security.
So we have people who are watching these things like hawks because they're getting, financial security through the mail. What we need is to figure out how do we make it more secure.
As for Gonzalez, he only has one wish.
We're always trying to figure out what's the next step to prevent these thieves from breaking into the mailboxes. So far that has been working, and I hope this is implemented elsewhere.
Zach Briggs, KENS 5.
A Japanese-based manufacturer has officially broken ground in San Antonio. Leaders say they expect Sanko Texas Corporation will help drive the economy on the south side. Meredith Haas spoke with leaders as they celebrated today.
Well, I spoke to city and county officials who say once everything's said and done, there's going to be at least 1,500 jobs open. But when it comes to the president of Sanko and talking about who he's going to employ, he expects to employ at least 300 people from San Antonio.
The facility is owned by Sanko, a Japanese company which will use the plant to make plastic bins and pallets. The facility will be just across from the Toyota plant on Watson Road, but it's unclear when construction will start. Once the facility is up and running, County Judge Peter Sakai said about 1,500 people will be employed there, but company leaders say about 300 of those jobs will be going to people from San Antonio. Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones was at the groundbreaking ceremony and spoke on the importance of continuing relationships between Japanese manufacturers such as Sanko and San Antonio.
We've got a strong pipeline of talent into this field, and I know that is so critical to our success. On top of course, ensuring that our utilities, right, CPS and SAWS, we can continue to support large projects like this. So those are the kinds of things that we're balancing.
The facility is expected to open in the next 2 years. Meredith Haas, KENS 5.
And that's the news in San Antonio.
I'm Lindsay Littman. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. The families of 2 teen cyclists are facing their hardest battles. 13-year-old Colton Young was diagnosed with leukemia Friday afternoon, and his teammate, 16-year-old Walker Carroll, was struck by a truck while riding his bicycle that same day. Our Adriana Alexander spoke with both families to hear the status of the teens and what their cycling community is doing to support them.
2 teens who share the same passion for cycling are now facing their own separate battles at the same time.
I mean, ultimately, we're holding on to our faith. I mean, we were stone cold believers, always have been.
16-year-old Walker Carroll was biking with his teammate in Hallsburg Friday when a pickup truck crashed into him. His father, Dan, has been at the hospital with him since it happened and said he still remains in critical condition.
They removed a part of his skull to alleviate, so they could drain both the blood, the brain bleed, and to make room for the swelling. They expect that will be removed for 8 to 12 weeks. He had 3 spinal cord injuries.
And Carroll's teammate, 13-year-old Colton Young, is also in the hospital bed, but with a different struggle.
He's having trouble keeping his blood counts where it's supposed to be.
Both teens are members of the Heart of Texas Junior Cycling Club. Just hours before Carroll's tragic crash, Young's mother, Tammy, says her and her son were hit with the most devastating news of their lives.
He's a beautiful kid, He was 13 that just was diagnosed with leukemia.
Tammy says the signs were there, but she didn't know his condition was tied to cancer.
He was always tired. His last good ride, he was with some of his favorite coaches. He came back and he fell asleep the whole car ride, and he went right to bed afterwards. He had cancer in his body then.
As both teens remain in the hospital, their cycling coach, Brady Gibson, has been hands-on with supporting them both. And so is the community.
We actually have a race this weekend, and I know that there's going to be a worship service and a prayer time for him.
Both families are holding on to faith in the hope that both boys will be back on their bikes one day.
In a world where there is so much bad, it's refreshing to realize and meet so many people with so much good.
And I'm just honored that they're wanting to dedicate this season to Colton and Walker.
Well, in that hit and run case, Texas DPS reports they were able to find the suspect and an investigation is ongoing. Young will have his second round of chemo treatment this week. Well, guard your heart and your wallet. Officials are warning about romance scams surging this Valentine's season. Our Sydney Walker has more from the Better Business Bureau and our local police department on how to find a foe amidst the beaux.
He loves me not.
These are crimes of emotion. These are crimes of financial fraud.
Jason Mesa with the Better Business Bureau is warning of romance scams.
So we see a lot of people that are on dating apps, online, looking for connection. And unfortunately, there's a lot of smooth talkers out there.
Fooled by fake profiles.
Because they never want to meet in person. They never want to turn their video on.
A phenomenon that spikes around Valentine's.
This is not an emerging scam, but the dollar amount per victim is going up.
Even though the connection may feel real.
Inevitably, there's an emergency that happens. And in that money attempt, there's a solicit for money. Hundreds, thousands, and hundreds of thousands sometimes.
The breakup will hurt.
Just in Texas alone, last year, we're seeing about $400,000.
A broken heart and wallet.
It starts out small like that, and it can very quickly grow to, hey, I need $20,000. I need to buy a new car.
Cody Close with Temple PD says red flags range from a friend request from a stranger with no mutual connections to asking for cash.
I know of a case where, the lady was out almost $100,000 from a scammer.
Refrain from sharing financial info or sending any intimate photos.
Once you send that, you can't take it back.
Gather info like screenshots of profiles and conversations and don't reply.
Just don't fall for the coercion behind it. Just completely block them from everything.
And don't believe their threats or love confessions.
If it's too good to be true, it probably is.
So, some dating advice?
It's worth the time to double, triple check and cross check that this person is real.
If you realize you've been scammed, report it immediately. You can report it at bbb.org or contact your local police department. And those are your headlines from Central Texas.
Hi, I'm Leslie Adamy in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's happening here in South Texas. A big issue affecting folks here in the Coastal Bend, continuing concerns over our water situation, our ongoing drought affecting the quantity of water. But how is it affecting the quality of our water? 3 News requested arsenic levels from the Texas Commission of Environmental Quality for municipal water supplies from 8 coastal Bend counties last year. The amounts, according to the TCEQ, do not go over the federally accepted amounts. Ryan Hopper spoke with experts about how arsenic finds its way into our supply and what families can do to stay safe.
You probably first found arsenic here in your high school chemistry class, but locally it can also be found here and, most concerningly, down here, which can make people sick after prolonged exposure to an untested well.
In those cases, long-term issues with poisoning, sometimes a darkening of the skin, warts come up with it, kind of these hard parts on your hands. These are things you may see with arsenic poisoning.
Baggerman stressed that arsenic levels slightly above the federal standard, like we saw in Robstown, aren't that troubling because municipalities regularly test their water supply.
So it's unlikely that anyone it's going to have long-term effects from arsenic poisoning because we didn't just start testing last week.
Our levels could continue to rise, however, because experts say arsenic and other metals get into groundwater when aquifers aren't regularly replenished by rain.
Think about it this way, because if precipitation, recharging, replenishing these aquifers is not going to be loaded with this kind of solutes, right? It will dilute those concentrations. But during drought periods, it doesn't.
Mergulo says it's not just a lack of rain, as overpumping can also raise contamination levels.
It's causing water to move faster without the dilution effect. It's mobilizing more, it's bringing more of that solute into the groundwater.
So what can you do to protect your well during this unprecedented drought?
The safest for those that are using it for drinking purposes, for their households, for cooking, having a reverse osmosis system is the safest thing to do.
That was Ryan Hopper reporting. Now, a portion of those results came from a water system in Robstown. The district manager says they are actively working to get those levels down. The district striking a deal with Corpus Christi Water on Monday to help alleviate the situation at no cost to the taxpayers. Keeping it here, actually, on Robstown Early College High School is celebrating a major accomplishment as one of its students prepares to take the stage at the state level. Sophomore Christopher Martinez has been selected to perform with the Texas Music Educators Association All-State Small School Choir in San Antonio. He's one of just 112 students chosen from across Texas to do so. After a rigorous multi-round audition process and after months of hard work and competition, he says he is honored to represent Robstown and is ready for this next challenge.
My plan right now is just to learn as much as I can. I'll be with a lot of other experienced musicians, and I'm just excited to learn more and get better as a musician.
We're so proud of what he accomplished. At the beginning of the year, he said, "Mr. Papard, my goal is to make the All-State Choir," and he did it.
After graduation, Christopher plans to attend the University of North Texas and become a music educator, using this achievement as the first step toward that future. Big congratulations to you, Chris. And that's a quick look at some of what's happening here in South Texas.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at yourmediainsurance.com.
In Austin, I'm Mark Mullins. A third-party contractor worker has died at the Samsung factory in Taylor. Taylor police responded to a call for an unconscious man Wednesday morning. That person was pronounced dead at the scene. Taylor police say officers determined no crime was committed. A spokesperson for Samsung tells KVUE the company is cooperating with authorities as they investigate and that safety is their highest priority. A man now faces a murder charge after a SWAT standoff in East Austin. Austin police say on the night of January 31st, officers responded to reports of an injured man in front of an apartment off of Springdale Road. They found 66-year-old Robert Garcia injured. Initially, the suspect, 38-year-old Raymond Ware, would not surrender, so SWAT officers responded. Police believe Ware violently assaulted Garcia, causing him to have significant head injuries. He died 4 days later. Austin police announced that Ware is now charged with murder. He's been in the Travis County Jail since police initially arrested him. From reporting the news to making the news, a rally to raise awareness and wages. Some local journalists are calling for changes. Union members from 3 news organizations rallied in downtown Austin Wednesday. They want better pay, job security, and safeguards against artificial intelligence in the newsroom. Here's reporter Brianna Perez.
Outside the Texas Tribune office, journalists taking a stand.
It's really unusual for journalists to, be gathering like this, saying chants, but it's important at this critical time in our democracy.
24 union members rally together as guild members negotiate their first contracts with each outlet, pushing for fair wages, layoff protections, and rules to prevent AI from replacing them.
We want to be treated equally. We have lost a lot of good people in the last 10 years because 1, they weren't being paid fairly. 2, there weren't matching benefits.
Nicole Villalpando with the Austin News Guild says they've been in talks with Statesman's owners, Hearst, since it bought the paper last year, and want pay and benefits that allow reporters to live in the communities they serve.
We know what's going on in our city, and we're covering the things that are important.
Villalpando says bargaining is set to resume next Friday. Meanwhile, Cassandra Jaramillo with the ProPublica Guild says they've been negotiating for 3 years, so they hope the community can help them push for progress.
It's a calling to be able to serve our community. And so when you're supporting the workers and journalists who are fighting for their rights, you are supporting good journalism as well.
Guild members say this effort is about more than pay. It's about protecting the work they do and the value of local journalism.
So it's so important that our journalists have their jobs protected so that we can continue to do the public service that we're so committed to doing, but is becoming harder and harder every day in media.
That was Brianna Perez reporting. A spokesperson for ProPublica told us they're committed to reaching a fair and sustainable first contract and are now meeting with union members regularly. It also says its proposals mirror those accepted by the News Guild and other publications. Austin could soon crack down on excessively loud cars and motorcycles. People in West Austin say the noise is more than just a nuisance. They argue it can harm their health by disrupting sleep, and they're concerned about racing and reckless driving. Councilmember Mark Duchin's office helped develop a draft ordinance to combat the problem. His district covers neighborhoods west of Mopac out to Lake Travis. Duchin says the problem is the worst along 2022 and 360. The proposed tougher rules target vehicle noises or vibrations deemed loud or disturbing. That includes excessive revving the engine while moving or standing still. Also excessive acceleration or braking when there's no emergency need. There's no decibel level attached to this proposal right now. Enforcement will be up to the peace officer's discretion.
We looked at Myrtle Beach. We looked at, in some cases, these were small to medium-sized cities, but that had major racing or bike rallies that noise became an acute problem for businesses and communities that live there. And that's really what this is about. It's a quality of life issue.
During last week's Public Safety Committee meeting, several people from Duchin's district showed up to support the plan. One played 2 minutes worth of cell phone videos to council members showing the noise from motorcycles.
Even with sound machines on and your TV on, your family is regularly disturbed by motorcycles and other vehicles with modified exhaust systems. Outdoors, the noise is even more noticeable and intrusive, as you saw in the videos. The problem has persisted for years and continues to worsen.
Violators could face fines of up to $500. APD plans to bring this proposed change to City Council for a vote next month. Austin ISD is responding to an investigation from the Attorney General's office over student protests. District officials say AISD did not support, endorse, sanction, or encourage walkouts protesting immigration enforcement. Earlier this month, AG Ken Paxton requested information from AISD, accusing it of facilitating the protests. KVUE obtained the district's response to the AG. An AISD attorney said the district agrees that the most ideal place for students to be during instructional hours is in school. The attorney went on to say, quote, short of physically restraining students, we cannot stop them from leaving campus. They also say students who walked out face unexcused absences and that students will not face a more severe disciplinary consequence for the walkouts because that would suggest the district is doing so based on the reason for their protest. AISD's attorney also pointed out that similar walkouts happened at districts across the state, but that AISD is the only district the Attorney General has announced it will investigate. The attorney wrote, quote, despite being singled out, we stand firm that we have not engaged in any practice inconsistent with the parameters in which we are permitted to engage with our students, end quote. The battle over what will happen next with the Austin Convention Center isn't over. The Convention Center downtown has already been demolished to make way for a new one. But the Austin United PAC wants voters to be able to decide on the property's future. They were trying to get an item on the May ballot. The city said the PAC did not collect enough signatures, so that PAC sued the city. And on Friday, a judge sided with the city, arguing their process was lawful. Now the PAC says it's appealing to the state Supreme Court in hopes of getting an item on the November ballot. The city tells us they're aware of the filing and will respond if the court requests it. Austin city leaders broke ground on a new pedestrian beacon on North Lamar Boulevard. It'll be near the North Austin Muslim Community Center, where Imam Islam Masad was hit and killed by a car last year. He was a faith leader there. And those in the Muslim community say this beacon honors his memory.
He was a person who was willing to serve anyone. He was a person that people felt safe around. This will be a reminder for all of us of the great work that he did in his life.
The beacon will give pedestrians a safer crossing on one of Austin's busiest corridors and is part of the city's Vision Zero plan to eliminate traffic deaths. Officials say the technology can reduce pedestrian crashes by more than 69%. Those are the headlines in Austin. I'm Mark Mullins.
Hi, I'm Brennan Gurley, and here's what's making headlines across East Texas. A medical diagnosis has turned everyday moments into moments of worry for one East Texas family. Their 3-year-old son lives with generalized epilepsy, and now they're sharing why a seizure alert service dog could change everything. CBS 19's Ayanna Aird shares their journey.
I mean, it's scary every day not knowing, is something going to happen?
For Shauna Nicole, every day comes with uncertainty, watching her 3-year-old son Trip live with a condition that can strike at any moment.
Every night. And sometimes during the day.
Mama is not sleeping.
No.
Trip has been diagnosed with generalized epilepsy, a disorder that causes him to suffer daily seizures. For his mom, that means sleepless nights and constant worry.
It's hard, which being a stay-at-home mom's hard anyway, but I mean, it's just another on top of it.
After months of treatment and searching for answers, a close friend stepped in.
Watching your best friend go through something like that is really heartbreaking. I mean, she's more like a sister to me than anything. So me as a mom, I think about it like, what can I do to make this situation easier on her?
Kayla then connected with others who faced the same battle.
We met this woman and talked to her and her seizure alert dog.
Seizure alert dogs are specially trained to detect when a seizure is about to happen, sometimes even before symptoms begin. Allison Tuttle with Canine Connection says it has to do with the chemical makeup that a seizure represents.
We get a sample from the child when the child is going through that, and then we go ahead and do scent recognition. So we start out with simply teaching them how to alert, whether it's a paw, a bark, or a nudge.
Now Shauna is raising money to bring a service dog home to Trip, a companion she believes would be nothing short of life-changing.
They're your animal, and just to know that for the next 10 years, he would have that, and he would have that companion, but someone that can also make sure that he's safe, and so that he can live a normal life. He loves baseball, he loves golf. He's an active little kid, but me as a mom, I'm like, we're not doing that. We can't do that.
And when asked how much it would mean to Shauna to get a seizure safety dog for Trip.
Everything. I mean, the peace of mind, the safety for him.
For CBS 19, I'm Ayana Aird.
15 years. That's how long one man will now spend behind bars after his dogs attacked and killed a 46-year-old Longview man in 2024. On Wednesday, the jury found Martin Gilbert Rodriguez guilty, and shortly after final arguments, they handed down the sentence, which the victim's family had wished was the maximum. CBS 19's Nayeli Carrillo takes us inside the courtroom.
Kenneth Pearson and his family finally got justice in the courtroom. 2 years and a few days after he was found brutally attacked at a South Longview intersection.
This has got to be one of the saddest cases I've seen. This has one of the most horrific pictures in a case I've seen.
During the trial, Martin Gilbert Rodriguez's lack of confinement for his dogs, more than 30 animal-related citations and testimony from residents led to the outcome.
How many citations did he have for animal at large?
It was over 30.
How many times did an animal come in through animal control that was connected to Mr. Rodriguez?
I believe it was 18 times.
Just 5 years from the maximum sentence.
The verdict, we were really hoping for 20 years, the max, but we will take the 15 years. We are accepting of it.
His family says they are happy no one will suffer the same fate as Kenneth.
I'm deeply concerned about the safety of others. No family should ever have to experience the kind of loss that my family has endured.
Rodriguez pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 10 years in 2021 after another person was attacked, but that sentence was probated. Now there will be another hearing to determine whether Rodriguez's probation will be revoked. In Longview, Nayeli Carrillo, CBS 19.
And that's a wrap in East Texas headlines. I'm Brennan Gurley.
And here are your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Mark Armstrong. Developing in Beaumont, police investigating after a man's body was found in a canal near Hillebrandt Bayou Tuesday morning. This happened along Interstate 10 just west of Washington Boulevard. Investigators say a TxDOT worker made the discovery while working in the area. It started as a routine workday for the highway crew, quickly turning into a death investigation. 12 News reporter Spencer Plato has the latest.
We weren't expecting that. You know, they're just out there doing their jobs, building the highway.
A normal day at work turned south as a construction crew off of I-10 and Washington Boulevard made a tragic discovery.
A TxDOT employee seen the body in the canal. He jumped into the canal and retrieved the body and brought it to shore. He thought it was someone was drowning. Once he got to shore, he realized that the man was actually deceased.
Justice of Peace Benjamin Collins says investigators believe the man may have been there for some time and not sure how he got in.
The water, the way it is in current, and the water temperature, you know, he may have been in the water for some time. It appears to be anyway.
Collins has ordered an autopsy to determine the cause of death. Beaumont police say detectives are working to determine exactly what happened.
Unfortunately, these things happen, and as with any death investigation, it's something that our detectives are going to investigate thoroughly. If there is a reason for a homicide investigation to be activated, then of course they'll do that. But for the most part, it's just a sad, unfortunate circumstance.
Collins says this serves as a reminder to check in with your loved ones.
Check on your families, especially the older ones. Keep in contact with them as much as you can. Visit them, see how they're doing. Some people just a simple visit, phone call.
And Beaumont police say the man's name, it could be released this week, and we'll keep you updated. All right, now to Vidor, where funeral services, they've been set for 15-year-old Jaden Roberts. That's the Vidor teen who was hit and killed Friday night. His visitation is going to begin at 10 a.m. this Saturday, with his funeral service following at 11 at the Adams E.E. Stringer Funeral Home in Kirbyville. And a judge has set a bond for a man previously found guilty of killing 4 people. He's asked to be granted a new trial, and the appeals court agreed. Now, a hearing Tuesday focused on whether Lively Stratton should be released while the case moves forward. He is facing capital murder of multiple people. Stratton told the judge that he had never been found guilty of another crime before this case, and he's asked the court to lower his bond to $250,000 overall. However, Beaumont police testified saying Stratton poses a threat to the community.
I think it's offensive to the court to ask for a number like that for all 4 individuals, maybe $250,000 per individual. So that's back at the $1 million bond that he was originally set on.
And after that hearing, arguments from both sides, Judge Raquel West granted Stratton's bond, setting it at $1 million overall. And new this morning, Port Arthur City Council has unanimously approved an ordinance enforcing minimum property standards at the Prince Hall Apartments. 12 News has been following the story for weeks after residents raised concerns about problems like no hot water, mold, and a lack of central air and heat. At Tuesday night's meeting, Mayor Charlotte Moses said that she personally visited one of the apartments at the center of concerns.
But today, the owner of that complex met me and Councilmember Lewis and has made a pledge to us that he's going to be on the ground, that he is going to clean it up. He had his workers with him.
Now, according to the ordinance, penalties for violations could be as high as $2,000 a day. Meanwhile, Orange City Council took several key votes Tuesday. It's all tied to the new HEB coming to the city. Council members, they approved a taxpayer-funded $1.5 million grant for the project. They also approved a 33% sales tax rebate for 10 years and a 50% property tax rebate also for 10 years. It's all connected to the new store's development. They just need one more set of votes at the next council meeting to distribute these incentives to the company. And those were your headlines from Southeast Texas.
Texas News Now is sponsored by Germania Insurance.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.